Hi, everyone. Welcome to One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is Ki Tetze. We're in volume 22 of our version of the Zohar, and it's page 247, paragraph 72. Let's invite in the lineage of the Rav and Karen and Michael, Rabbi Shlag, Rabbi Brandwan, the Ria Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Mazulai, Rabbi Nachum Mendelova Tepsk, Rav Kolonim Shapira Piasetson, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and all of the students, Rab Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous in Shechem. Today is the 8th day of Elul, Virgo. So there's a lot of Virgo energy circulating, a lot more so this time of year than any time. As we connect to these verses, let's have a consciousness from wherever we are connecting to the flawless universe, the upper realm, and channeling energy of fulfillment and blessings and healing and removal of negativity, and the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, and treating everyone with human decency. This month of Elul is, it's Virgo. And think about for a second, what does it mean? What is the energy of Virgo? The energy of Virgo is seeing the imperfections of the world around you, because the Virgo is the Virgin, is perfection. So that is the energy of this month. And so why does it show up this way? Well, because we have Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the new year coming at the end of this month. And so this month is specifically energized to assist us in seeing not the flaws around us, we do see that, but in being more introspective and doing the things that we need to do to remove our blockages, so we can show up as the best version of ourselves on Rosh Hashanah, where we get energy for the whole year. That's what's taking place. It is Judgment Day. And so we're being judged as to what kind of year we're going to have. It's the seed level for the year. And so we want to show up. We don't want to cram for that. We want to be preparing all month, and the energy of this month is assisting us in doing that. And there's a lot of resources on that. Let's go to verse 72, and keep in mind that as we connect to these verses, we are connecting to the energy of the flawless universe. And think about the people we know who need healing, and also those souls that are in transition that need our assistance and elevation. Chaim Meir ben Alta Abraham. Kum Arai Mahamana. Tov Avna Da Bidach, Di Itmar Ba, Al Eben Achad Shiva Einayim, Letavra Klipin de Egoza, Da Kama Roim Parnasei Dara, It Kanashu Al Hai Avna, Di Sela Dilach, La Paka Mi Maya Mitaman, De Chala Dilach Mayan Hachachma, Bahai Sela Dinavia, Dila Baraita, Razin Stimin Late Sof. Ve'ala itmar v'hachachma me'ayin timatzeh. Maria?
Rise, faithful shepherd. Take this stone, which is Malchut, in your hands, of which it says, upon one stone are 7 facets.
Okay, so the faithful shepherd is Moses. So this is a conversation that Moses is having. Actually, this is a conversation with Moses. So, first of all, that's fascinating. So this is an opportunity to connect to Moses right here. Moses, half man, half angel, channeled the Torah. There's a lot in this Zohar and others in this book which really go to who Moses was. But one of the most famous stories of who Moses was there's a story that says he didn't go into Israel. He didn't merit to, here he was, he's the shepherd. He shepherded the children of Israel, the lineage of Jacob, all the tribes. He shepherded them out of Egypt, out of a very egocentric, energetic environment, to bring them to the Holy Land. That's the Holy Shepherd. He shepherded them. And along the way, there's a lot of stories that happen in the Bible. So what went on? One of the stories is they were thirsty. And so, as opposed to speaking to the rock, Moses took a staff and hit the rock. What's the big deal? So that story is often suggested as the reason why Moses did not merit going into the land of Israel with the children of Israel. That somehow was a reactive move on his part. And because of his reactivity, he changed the trajectory of his life. So the first thing that's available to us here is this idea that we want to be very thoughtful in all the things that we do, because they do affect the trajectory of our life, specifically our reactivity. Like words, what does it mean to speak to the rock? We share words and they have consequences. It's like, people that don't have a filter. It's one thing to think something. It's another thing when you say it, because when the words escape, there's no bringing them back. So it's thoughts, it's words, and it's actions. So in this case, we have on the simple level, Moses not speaking to the rock, but hitting the rock was a moment of reactivity. And so on the very simple level, that had consequences. But the Zohar and the Kabbalists explained that there was actually a lot more to the story. It wasn't that Moses lost his cool and hit the rock. That's not what happened. It reads that way, but that's not what happened. Moses realized that the children of Israel didn't have the spiritual elevation sufficient that they would understand that by talking to the rock would produce water. They needed to see an action in order to believe that was what was happening. And it wouldn't happen without their consciousness being there. And so for us, another opportunity that we have here is understanding the power of our elevated consciousness, the power of us seeing beyond the 1% physicality, the power that we have beyond seeing the basic laws of physics. And by basic, I mean to the exclusion of quantum, which doesn't comport with our logical understanding of physics. It's much more about the internal energy and effects that take place that quantum measures and experiments with that contradict with basic physics. So if we want to really prepare ourselves for the new year, part of what we need to do is we need to become introspective, and we need to understand that the universe is helping us with that. And that at another level, we need to understand that our reactivity is putting us back. It's going to happen. We're going to get reactive. That's not the issue. The issue is when we get reactive, are we beating ourselves up? Or are we using those opportunities to grow from them? I heard David Guillaume share this idea. I want to say it was David. Share this idea that for us, it's not the result that yields the light in our world. It's the journey, and specifically, it's the restriction. That we're here to be on a journey so we can exercise restriction of our physical body ego, of our nature. I mean, it's natural to do a lot of things, but our job is to rise above that nature. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, let me go back a little bit. Upon one stone are 7 facets in order to break the shells of the klipot, of the nut.
Okay, anyone want to take a stab at what klipa, shell, means to you? What we've learned about klipot?
A lack.
A lot. Did you say lack?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. What else? There's no wrong answers here. So far, no, there's no wrong answers here. Peter, did you want to share something?
I was waiting for others to say more, but klipo is physically the shell. So, and I was reading some Zohar, I think it might have been this morning in a different section. And if we think about a nut, so the point is it's also concealed. So I want to take the other side of it in. It hasn't been realized yet, right? So we always think about it, which I do, right? Okay, I got a veil I can't see. There's the side that it hasn't manifested or come out.
Yes. It's hidden behind a shell. There's something hidden behind the shell. Anybody else? Anything else? So one way of looking, and there's many ways to look at this idea of klipot, but the idea is that it's a blockage. And behind the blockage is something we don't see. But what is behind the blockage is our soul, our genuineness. And things get blocked for a variety of reasons. When we are way too sensitive about what people think about us and we're not comfortable being ourselves, we actually have created a shell around who we genuinely are. If I show up in a situation that requires sensitivity and I can't, for whatever reasons, be sensitive to that, I'm creating a shell literally around my heart. You know, when I am unwilling to lean into an uncomfortable feeling, do something that's uncomfortable for me. Maybe it's as simple as giving charity. Like, I'm just not comfortable giving charity. I'm not comfortable giving money away. I mean, so I create the shell around this desire to share in that specific way. It's blocked. I've justified. Yeah, I don't have to help them out. That, you know, they're just going to use the money for the wrong reasons. I have, you know, a friend, let's say hypothetically, that is doing something that I don't agree with. And so I can't be supportive. Like, I'm not doing it, they're doing it. I have a shell just around being unconditionally loving and supportive of people on their journeys. So there's a whole variety, you know, I might have fears that I don't want to address. So I put shells in the way of addressing those fears, of embracing those fears. I might have, you know, so there's shells that we put that block us from manifesting our internal light, the best version of ourselves. One of the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, the father of Hasidism, one of his teachings is that if you see something about somebody that bothers you, it's the universe trying to tell you something about yourself that you don't see, some flaw that you have that you don't see. Otherwise, you'd be more tolerant to people in that way. So the universe has various ways of showing us. Any kind of repeating patterns are ways the universe is showing us that there's something going on that we don't see. And to the point made earlier, these are things that are hidden from us. So the more we ask for help to see the things that we don't see, the greater the opportunity is for us to break those shells. And there are many, you know, and throughout life, we've had experiences where we decided to close doors for whatever reasons. And so part of the job is to go back and open up those doors and see what gift lies beyond. Because the gift is an aspect of ourselves. What a klipah does is it closes us off to an aspect of ourselves. And part of the reason why we're here on this journey is to manifest the best version of ourselves, and the klipot stand in the way. Okay, Maria, keep going.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm going to go back here a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Based on that explanation, and then on the quotes above that says, and in your hands, of which it says, upon one stone are 7 facets, which 7 facets, I'm assuming That's a level of Malchut.
Yes. Well,
Is Rampen?
it's
That's
Zeran Pin and Malchut. Yes. So we know that the tree of life is made up of 7 levels of energy consciousness. Excuse me, 10 levels of energy consciousness, the 10 sfirot. And the one in the realm that we occupy is Malchut. It's the world of action. And the 6 above us are known as Zeran Pin. And all energy, all fulfillment, all life, all sustaining energy flows through those 6 to come to our realm of Malchut. Our realm doesn't have any light of its own. So this is the analogy between the sun and the moon. The moon has no light of its own. Zero, zippo. It all comes from the moon. It all comes from the sun. And so to our realm is like the moon. It has no light of its own. It all comes from the sun, from Zeran Pin, the 6 sfirot above. So interestingly, in this section, what we see is Moses is being asked to take the stone, which is Malchut, into your hands. So he is Zeran Pin. He is the one who forged this connection between Zeran Pin, the upper realm, and Malchut, our realm. And that's what the internal energy of the Bible does for us. That is specifically what the internal energy of Zeran Pin, of the upper realm, does for us.
So when you talked about earlier, right? Because you asked what the body is, right? And we identified blockages, hidden blockages, right? Is through this process and this break of the stone that he's talking about is for us to really get into that level of consciousness and just to go to those 7 steps and get us
So
into
yeah, well, to forge that connection, correct. Correct. I mean, we're always trying to do that. Shabbat is the easiest time of the week to do that. As we approach Shabbat, I think midday is somewhere around 1 o'clock. So, we're approaching, the tipping point of Friday, which is when we go from the 6 days of the week, which don't have the energy of Shabbat, to Shabbat. It's a tipping point. Peter?
I was going to say that what I've started, because of a Michael lecture, and it was a recent Michael lecture, that anytime we start to see the numbers, we should be thinking through, because it'll help us with depth and understanding as well as connection, right? Because he was David when he was talking about it, right? You said 7, I saw it, I was going to comment, I chose not to comment, so I'm glad you brought it up, Maria. So David then mentioned the correlation, right? Remember, he was going through the worlds, Asiya, Yetzirah, Bria, etc., going through the levels of soul in the world. So every time we see these numbers, there's so much more depth to it. And I was just going to say that I think that we shouldn't just, even if we're not talking about it in the group, but you see it, you need to remember that there's so much. So every time you see 3, right? 3-column system.
It's a 3-column system, right?
Yeah.
100%. Every time you see 7, it's always Zeran Pin and Malchut. You see 10, it's all 10 sfirot. We see 12, it's the astrological signs. We see 13, it's 1 above the astrological signs. That's us overcoming the nature of our universe. 26, it's the numerical value of the tetragrammaton. 72, that's the thing. This is paragraph 72. It's the 72 names, which give us a direct connection with different types of energy consciousness from the upper realm. Mem Shin is the energy of healing. When we see words with those letters, that's a direct connection to those tools that we have. It's all interconnected. Even though we perceive a fragmented world, it's all interconnected. And by having that consciousness, and I'm glad you brought that point up, by having that consciousness of seeing the deeper significance, we are connecting to that deeper significance. We're manifesting that energy that deeper significance has for us. How? Through our consciousness. This is why consciousness is everything. All Moses had to do was speak to the rock and channel the water. That's all he had to do. but the collective consciousness wasn't there. And by the way, the reason he doesn't go into the land of Israel with the children of Israel is because their collective consciousness wasn't elevated enough for Moses to go in with them. So was that like a one-shot deal? No, here we are, children of Israel. We have the opportunity to raise our consciousness. At that tipping point, Messiah shows up, period. End of story. I mean, there's more of a story, but this is us doing our work to elevate our consciousness, to manifest the energy of Garden of Eden consciousness in our world. That's what we're doing. Completing creation, taking over the job from the angels from the time that Moses went up to Mount Sinai and received the 10 commandments. 10 energy levels that were thrust into our realm to give us the ability to create heaven on earth. Okay, keep going, Maria.
For many shepherds, leaders of the generations were gathered by this stone, which is your rock, to bring water out of it, since your bride, Malchut, is the fount of Chokhmah in the river that is flowing with Torah in the infinite hidden secrets.
Okay, so like it's hidden from us. The upper realm is hidden from us. What is not hidden from us? This reservoir of energy we call reality. So the river flows into this reality. There are a couple of rivers in this metaphor, but in this model, in this consciousness. But like we are literally and we've talked about this before. We picture a stagnant reality. It's anything but. Energy is flowing here at every instant. Nothing would be here if the energy was flowing, but it's flowing perfectly. So perfect, you don't even notice it. It looks stagnant. It looks like frozen. I mean, the background behind me, which is a real background, there's books, there's a window, there's a shade. That is a flow of energy. Yet it doesn't move, right? Because it's a perfect flow. It's light that arrives and light that returns. It's a constant flow that's going on. And so that's what Malchut represents. Malchut represents manifestation of that energy from the upper realm. And Chokhmah represents the river which flows into the reservoir, which is Binah, which flows into the sixth sphere of Zerampin to arrive in our realm. That's the superstructure of our reality. That's hidden from us.
David, as long as you're going to sneeze, while you're sneezing. So the other part of that is, it says, since your bride Malchut, so the Malchut in this case is the vessel, so the river can flow into us, right, guys? Not just into our world, but into us.
That's correct. The only difference is that is like kind of the playground that we're in, and we have the ability to modify it. How do we do that? Which congressman or Senate committee do I have to talk to do that? No. That's not how we do it. We do it with our consciousness, which is above logic. It's beyond logic. We do it with our consciousness. Our consciousness affects that reality. And so part of what we're doing here through these verses is making a direct connection to the upper realm. And by raising our consciousness to understand it's our consciousness that affects the reality, we are positively impacting this reality, this world of ours. Okay, one more line in this paragraph.
Yeah. It said of it, but where shall wisdom be found?
So it translates as where shall we, as a question, but you don't see a question mark, right? I mean, that could be a typo, but Chokhmah is wisdom. It's also the second sphira of the 10 coming down. So instead of looking at it as like wisdom, we look at it like it's one of the sphirot. So, and what is above Chokhmah? Keter. And what's above Keter? Ein Sof. And so you see ayin, which is like me'ayin, from where? That's Ein. This is the energy of Ein Sof, infinity, the upper realm, which we lack the ability to conceive of because we're looking at it through our limited mind.
David, the last word of the last sentence was sof as well. Does sof mean secrets? Is that what it literally translates as?
Well, it's not. It's timatzeh.
No. Look at the last word of the sentence right before that.
Oh, Letzov. So, yeah, interesting. Infinite hidden secrets. Correct.
So wait,
That's so.
sof means
Letzov is infinite. So yes, they're hidden and they're infinite, and we can't even conceive of them because they're in a realm that is blocked from our consciousness. So, like, we don't need to do that though. We need to be focused on the things that we can control with our consciousness. So it's fascinating because, like, if you think about the term infinite, if you think about the concept of infinity, it's like my mind can't conceive of something not going on forever because we live in a physical, fragmented world where everything's measurable and everything's linear. That is body consciousness. That is linearity. That is the way we interact with the world. So these non-linear ideas, these expansive ideas that we can't think of, is because it's above. It's like we're trying to use a 12-inch ruler to measure something much greater. We only have a 12-inch ruler. We can't measure it. We can't conceive of it. Yes, Peter.
Sorry, I can't remember if it was in the book I'm reading or if it was Eitan. But literally yesterday it said every day we should go out and look up in the sky like we're looking to heaven so that we can expand.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great idea. There's also this idea that by looking into the blue sky, we clear negativity from our consciousness. So that's an expansive consciousness. It's like, it's like looking at the night sky in a city setting where there's a lot of streetlights and you really can't see the stars, or being out in the country somewhere where there is no light interfering with your view of the night sky. And it's like you see things you've never seen before. Like there are probably stars falling all the time, streaking across the night sky. We're just not able to see them. So much is hidden from us. Sometimes I can't see the source, but I can see the effect. Like I can't look at the sun or I'll damage my eyes, but I can look at the effect the sun has on the world around us. I mean, it's cloudy right now, and where I am, the sun isn't obvious that everything is lit up outside. So the sun is so powerful that it just breaches whatever. You can't see it. You don't have to see it. It's there. The light of the Creator is here. We're bathing in it 24/7. We don't see the Creator. We don't see the source of the light. We see the effect. We see it manifesting in physicality. So that's you might think that's a interesting way of looking at reality, or you might think it's a very cool way of looking at reality, but what does that do for me? Don't judge anything. We don't know. We just don't know. We don't know if this is good. We know if it's bad. We don't know. I know the light is a force for good, though. So I know if I'm aligning myself with the light, I'm ahead of the game. And by aligning ourselves with the light, what we're saying is, and this is what our teachers teach, is like, how do I align myself with the light? Is there some kind of special hat or swag I have to wear? No. No. It's like I look at the features of the light and I just channel light like the creator does. I get out of the way. I get out of my own way. I seek to identify what blockages I have. Again, this idea of klipot, what blockages I have so that I can manifest more light. I am just a channel. Even in this class, the things that we're talking about, we're just channels. We're just channels. It's not us. Okay, let's do another paragraph, 73. The chol tukpa dilhon le'abra klipa dil'ela, v'chad matan liklipa tinyana, di'i takifa I kashalon, u'machan ba kol yomehon kulhu, v'lishanehon inun takifin kefatishin. V'leklon reshula apakamina meya elen tipin de nafkin al yedach, the zima de itmar bach v'yach et hasela b'matehu pamayim. Uvim cha'a tinyana nafke elain tipin. V'elain inun remizin de chachmata, remizin de kabbalah. De inun bechagiga, ushar matanitin. Hai even late man de apik mina chachma, de milgav, the late la sof bar ant, the itmar ba halacha l'moshe misinai. Maria?
Their whole power is effective in removing the outer shell. When they reach the second shell, which is strong, they find it difficult and strike it all their lives with their tongues that are as strong as hammers.
Okay, so what we're talking about here, by the way, and this is in the synopsis. This is what the righteous souls, the tzaddikim, the Kabbalists are doing in trying to reveal the details of the inner reality, the inner energy. Like all their work is to manifest this energy in our world, this energy from the upper realm. And in many times it's hidden where? In the actual verses. That's why we're always unpacking verses. In the Zohar, when we unpack those verses through the teaching of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his students and others, we're manifesting that energy of the flawless universe. Go ahead.
Oh, but they have no permission to bring water out of it, except for those drops that come out through you.
Okay, so Moses, on the other hand, is a different being. And so he has the ability to draw water from the rock. What's water from the rock in this case? These are the hidden secrets, the manifestation of all these blessings, the manifestation of the blueprint for reality, which is the Torah, this spiritual blueprint for our reality. He has the ability to manifest it, which he does in the form of the 5 books of Moses. Go ahead.
When he said of it, and with his rod, he smote the rock twice.
Aha. So that's why he hit it twice. Why? He got this is going to work. Boom, once. I got to try again. Boom. No, it wasn't getting more frustrated. It was next level. Well, why didn't it work the first time? Well, this is a fragmented reality. It's not so easy. He removed one shell only to find another shell. But he was doing work that no one, remember, we're taught that Moses was the most elevated prophet to ever walk the face of the earth, that there will never, ever be a prophet on his level. So what he was able to manifest, the insights, the energy, the blessings that he manifested was above and beyond what anyone else has ever done or would ever do. Go ahead.
At the second meeting, these drops
smiting, like a smiting the rock. Yes.
Yeah, these drops came out. They are the illusion of wisdom and the illusion of the wisdom of Kabbalah, which are in tractate. What is that word?
Hagigah.
Hagigah.
And other Mishnayot. So what is it? that he got with the second hit? These other bodies of knowledge. So, and what do we mean by that? These are the other holy writings. So the Zohar itself is a collection of holy writings brought, manifested by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But it was Moses who came and taught him. Moses came every day into the cave, as did Elijah the prophet. So it was still Moses manifesting that light. And then the other great tzaddikim and Kabbalists of the age who took the words, took the written tradition, which was the 5 books of Moses, but they were able to merit to know the oral tradition. And so what they did was they would debate the oral tradition to try and figure out what actually the ruling was, what actually the spiritual rules of engagement were. And that gets collected in the Mishnah, and that gets collected in the Talmud. And so those represent the water from the second striking of the rock. A deeper revealing, a deeper revealment. And so what we are benefiting from here is the deepest of insights into our reality, our personal reality and the reality of the world. I had a conversation with someone today about politics. And he said to me, I'm not looking, I really don't much care about the primaries and the election. I don't care much about that. I'm much more concerned with what's going on in the country. Like, that is an elevated consciousness. It's like, at one level, there are things that are going on, and we think that there are those who think by, being politically active, they will affect the outcome. I don't think so. I think that's a trap. That's because from a spiritual perspective, it's our spiritual work that will decide what happens in the world. And that's an elevated consciousness. Because to say otherwise is like to say we don't really have control. But we do. It's our consciousness that affects our reality, and our collective consciousness, which affects the reality of the world. And so this study is critically important to the future of civilization. It is. Now, here's the good news. I read the book already, and it all works out in the end. The Gemara Tikkun, the final correction, the Messiah consciousness, peace on earth happens. It's going to happen. The only question is, what's the route we're going to choose to get there and how quickly it happens? But it has already happened. That's the paradox of our reality. Looking to the future, it's in the present. It's already happened. But we want an opportunity to earn it, and that's what we're doing. And we earn it by elevating our consciousness and by identifying our own klipot, our own blockages, and by moving through those blockages. That's what we're here to do. When we manifest the best version of who we are, the world changes. That's what our teachers tell us. That's the reality. Now, if you're stuck in physicality, and if you're stuck in just, measuring things, what power does what does one person have with changing the reality? You change your consciousness. You are changing the world. It's actually more powerful than the one vote you had, which is limited to one vote. We don't know the power of the change in your consciousness. We don't know the power of my elevated consciousness. We don't know what impact it has in the world around us. We don't know. We can't measure the butterfly effect. We can't measure any of those results that are part of my enhanced consciousness. Okay, I'm enhanced my consciousness. I don't see the world changing. That's right, you don't. It is changing. It's changing all the time. Okay. let's go with a little bit more English.
No one can bring forth from this stone wisdom that is inside it, which is infinite, except you, of whom it says, halachah, given to Moses on Sinai. What does that
Yes, so there's this idea that certain spiritual rules were halachot, rules of engagement. It really comes to the word holech, to walk. This is walking the walk. This is the path. So there's a line that's the halachot. It actually says halacha l'Moshe Sinai, that which is like the rules of the journey that were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. So this is why
spiritual journey? Okay.
these are the spiritual rules of engagement. This is how we engage with the world around us, which Moses, unlike any other prophet that ever lived, manifested that at that time on Mount Sinai, and it continues to manifest every day in greater quantity every time we connect to the wisdom and manifest it in our reality by raising our consciousness. So I think that's all that we have time for today. Shabbat Shalom. Love you.
Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.